Chapter 2. Teenagers. After living in the apartment for about a year and a half, a small... what do you call a gathering of teenagers? It's a murder of crows, a gaggle of geese, a flock of sheep, a herd of cattle, a shrewdness of apes, an exaltation of larks. It's a pace of asses, a scourge of mosquitoes. Yeah, we'll stop with that the last two there. As I was saying, a small pace of teenagers began to roost in regular fashion upon the steps leading down into the hallway in which the door to my apartment was located. At first, it was just one or two. They would greet my son and I as we came home. I tried to be friendly, yet slightly aloof. They're like bees, you know. You sort of blow on them as if to say, I'm not a flower, dumbass, I just smell like one. See section on perfume, why you would want to attract bees. Then they leave you alone. But if you swat at them, they might sting, or in this case, you might end up with sugar in your gas tank or something. Either way, they could see where I lived, so I wasn't taking chances. Hey, man, would go the salute to my son, bleary, pot-pink eyes to match, and sometimes accompanied by booze breath. Hi, my 4-year-old would chime. For the sake of his childhood, I would muster a smile and try to put off an aura of mess with my child and die. 2 became 3, and 3 became 4, and 4 would multiply on the weekends to about 7, usually drunk. One afternoon, we came home to a young man, and I used the term lightly, passed out on the stairs. I guided my blissfully innocent child by the hand, but as we passed, he said loudly, "Look, Mommy, that man is taking a nap," with such glee that all I could do was say, "Why, yes, he is, baby," and try to keep him from noticing what appeared to be a wet spot under the guy's crotch in the carpet of the landing. I guess it was the happiness of seeing what passed as an adult doing something he did on a daily basis, I'm not sure, but the next time we saw him, I barely got my son out of earshot before he burst out with, "Hi, are you going to take a nap today?" Children say wonderful things at not so wonderful times, or not so wonderful things, but during wonderful times. My son has a small blue blanket, which has been called the Blue Bee, for as long as he could call it anything. He would also state that he needed things rather than wanted. This would result in us in the store walking casually around, him in the seat of the cart, when he would suddenly say, "Need booby! Need booby!" When you find yourself explaining that booby is really Blue Bee, his blanket, to total strangers who are looking at you like you belong in some sort of list, mortifying is not really the word. It's along the same lines of being in the bathroom stall and having your still-learning child shout something like, "Mommy, are you going poopies?" Or, "Boys have penises, girls have vaginas." I was once congratulated by my son in a public restroom. "Good job, my, what a big poop." I'm sure many fathers would have loved that, but most moms don't. Back to the teenagers. So the scourge of teens, about 7 of them, would get drunk or high, or drunk and high, on the steps. For some reason, this caused not only their brains to cease functioning, but their legs as well. Even cats will use a litter box, and they're animals. Teens, apparently, aren't as evolved. Instead of going to use a toilet, they would simply pee under the stairs. They would also get drunk and vomit in the middle of the hall. There was also a girl fight over a guy, which resulted in the police being called. This might be the same group who stole, then returned my birthday present, but that's another story. See, a friend of mine got me one of the Sandman volumes for my birthday. He wrapped it and left it on the front door for me to find. I think he then left, hoping I would open the door, but I was asleep or watching a movie or something because I never noticed. He texted me, and when I went to the door and looked, nothing. I told him so. I looked around some more and found it. Someone had stolen it, opened it enough to see that it was a book, and a rather thick one at that, apparently decided that books are not worth stealing, and ditched it under the stairs in the urine puddles. Thankfully, it doesn't smell anymore.